Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're building for the web, you know the deal. Getting data to your users fast is everything. Today, we're going to talk about a huge shift in how we do that. A real revolution being pushed by frameworks like Next.js that's completely changing the game for modern apps.
We've all been there, right? Just staring at that little spinning wheel waiting and waiting. Well, that frustration, it comes directly from the old ways of fetching data. This new approach we're talking about is designed to kill that spinner for good.
So here's the big idea. It all starts with one fundamental change. We're moving data fetching away from the user's browser and putting it on the server where it belongs. It sounds simple, but this has a massive impact on performance and how an app actually feels to use.
Let's kind of walk through how we got here. We all started with traditional API calls from the browser. You load a page, then it has to make a bunch of separate trips to get the data, which is slow. Then we got smarter with server-side rendering, which helped the initial load. But the real leap forward, that's direct database access from server components. For a lot of cases, we can just skip the API layer entirely, which slashes latency and just makes our code so much simpler.
And this really shows you the difference, side by side. On the left, you've got the old way, a tangled mess of network requests, complicated state management on the client, and of course, the loading spinners. But on the right, the new way. The server handles the data fetching, so the code on the client is way simpler. The user gets a fully rendered page right away, and we have a straight shot to our data. It's just cleaner all around.
Okay, so fetching data fast is one thing, but you know what's even faster? Not having to fetch it at all. That brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, building a really intelligent memory layer right into our apps with smarter caching. The magic behind this is a concept called request memoization. Think of it like this. The first person who asks for, say, a product page triggers a fetch from the database. We grab that data and we cache it. Now, the next person or the 100th person who asks for that same exact product, they get it instantly from the cache. No database trip needed. It's a fetch once, serve many model, and it's incredibly powerful. And that quote really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just a technical trick to shave off milliseconds. Being smarter with our data makes the web feel instantaneous, sure, but it also means less load on our servers and way less complexity for us developers to manage. But okay, you're probably thinking, what happens when the data changes? How do we keep the cache from getting stale? Well, that's where revalidation comes in. The process is simple. We fetch the data, we cache it, and we serve it instantly from that cache. But then, in the background, we can kick off a process to revalidate, or fetch the latest version to make sure our cache is always fresh for the next request.
And you've got two main ways to handle this. There's time-based revalidation, which is perfect for stuff that doesn't change too often, like a blog post. You just tell it, hey, check for an update every hour. Simple. Then there's on-demand revalidation, which is way more precise. Imagine a product's inventory changes. You can trigger a revalidation at that exact moment to make sure the page is updated immediately.
All right, so let's put it all together. When you have server-side data fetching and smart caching, what does that unlock? It lets us build the kind of web experiences we've always wanted. Apps that feel alive and truly real-time.
This is where we really have to shift our thinking. We need to stop thinking about web pages as static documents that load and start seeing them as experiences where information just flows onto the screen. It's a whole different mindset.
So how do you actually make data flow? Well, developers use a few key patterns. With streaming, the server can send the page in chunks. So you see the important stuff, like the header, almost instantly, while other parts, like a comment section, are still loading in. We also use better loading states, like those cool skeleton screens, instead of just a blank page. And, of course, smart error handling, so if one little component fails, it doesn't crash the entire page.
And when you combine all of this, what you get is an application that just feels fluid. It feels responsive. Data updates happen seamlessly, new content appears without you even noticing, and that horrible, jarring full-page reload, it just becomes a distant memory.
Okay, let's boil this all down. What are the three big things to remember? First, the big shift. We're moving data fetching to the server. It's faster and simpler. Second, the philosophy. Smart caching is the secret sauce that makes everything feel instant. And third, the new frontier. We're using real-time patterns like streaming to finally, maybe, make that refresh button a thing of the past.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What does the web look like when the refresh button is gone for good?
How does it change the way we design apps and the way people interact with them when everything is just live all the time? The possibilities are pretty exciting to think about.